Hey everybody, today is Saturday, July 18th, 2026, and you're listening to the While We Still Can podcast, where we talk about international politics, local politics, anything we're wanting to talk about. We've got Tony here today. Hey Tony, Tina's here. Yeah? And I've been out in the sun, so I'm a little affected today.
Sun affected. Well,
Yes.
they said since they turned off CERN, the sun's different. Tony
Is that
loves
right?
that. So
This is my sun hat. It won't fit over my earphones, so not wearing it, but it's a sun
you
hat.
you have a hat for every season. Tim Pool hat
Yes,
for winter.
that's right. It gets cold. It gets cold
I
in
know.
the winter.
I get it. I get it.
But
I get it.
yeah, so we've got so much to talk about. Holy smokes. There's just so much going on. Yeah.
I think the first thing we should talk about is what we were just talking about just like a record, which is the 2020 election and just the ridiculousness of Trump's speech the other night. You know, who picked it up, who showed it, who didn't show it. The statements that were made after it. It's so obvious that Trump is trying to rewrite history or thinks that people forgot everything we all witnessed, saw, experienced, and even read about after the fact. You know.
So here's what I think about it. I think the dude, they cheated in 2016 and he won. They cheated in 2020, and because of the pandemic and the associated factors, he actually lost. And they cheated again in 2024, and he won. So he is fixated on 2020 because he thinks he should have won because he tried to fix it.
Oh, I agree
Well,
on that.
he's saying we cheated because he cheated and still lost. So
Yeah,
we had to have cheated,
right. He
like to
doesn't get it.
over cheat his cheat.
Well, and then you also have the fact that, not only did he admit that it was the only time things went sideways was when his government was in control, um, but also
Right.
he is basically shared evidence to show and actually corroborates Russian involvement for several years. Stuff that we know is out there. I shared a lot of it, but he literally shared stuff in a way that basically says, "Yep, Russia did it."
Then he said that the papers he released, declassified or whatever, sort of declassified, makes me feel like there is someone in the administration that is maybe going to try to help us a little bit because the papers that he declassified are not what he verbalized. And when you actually read the papers, you're
Which he
like,
doesn't read
wait,
anything. We know
well,
that.
no, but I'm like, my brain is like gaslit, like completely. I'm like, wait, I'm reading something that is not consistent to what he's saying. And then all of these people are literally like, see, I told you that, there was cheating in the 2020 election. I'm like, but the papers that he declassified do not say that. They say quite
Right.
the opposite.
Well, and maybe that's simply what I've talked about before being his truthful hyperbole. He simplified it so much that he knows nobody's actually going to look at the evidence, or even if they do, the only people that are going to be fixated on it are the people he does that are his enemies, so to say, are the people that oppose him, and he knows he can just play it off with his others because they aren't paying enough attention, or he can lie to them about the information anyway. I mean, if that makes sense at all.
Does, let's talk about the Todd Blanche hearings. I mean, this is a dude that, I mean, he was previously the president's private attorney.
Which he said under oath when asked about his relationship with him in a way that wasn't
It's
that
like a
wasn't the
Freudian slip.
answer to what
Yeah.
he was asked. He basically kind of put it out there without even being asked whether it was true.
No, he's clearly telling the American people that that is who he works for.
Right. Yeah, which in any other time that would the thing would have lasted 3 minutes because that would have been absurd.
Well, and this is where, I think it's just another example, but I truly think it's the best example of we're beyond the pale on all of this.
So beyond the pale.
The line was, I can't even see the line anymore. I mean, we're so far into this. Uh, And who's doing what? I posted again today. Everybody's talking about, oh, him trying to rig the elections, and we're just going to vote, and we're going to do. Yes, we're all going to fucking do that. I know that. Let's keep up that stuff. But who the fuck is talking about what we're planning on doing when they refuse to cede power and play all
Exactly.
these shenanigans? And January 6th won't be shit.
Right. We
That's
do need a plan.
child's play.
A plan needs to be developed. Let's get
Yes,
one.
and not a single leader out there. And this is the other thing I'm pissed off about more than anything right now. Sorry, is everybody
No
still thinks
apology necessary. Everybody's feeling the same way.
everybody thinks that we've got these elected leaders that eventually will do something that eventually was a long time ago too, and nobody is going to actually, because if they were, every single one of them would be in front of cameras every single day screaming reality and truth if they cared about even their own constituents in their own districts only. They should be in front of the cameras doing that. We don't have the presence to do that, but we have the information. But you know what? I'm tired of everybody thinking they didn't pay, none of those people have the same information and more. I mean, it's
Right.
obvious they know. I mean, why do we even give them the benefit of the doubt for not understanding the circumstances behind Trump's decisions? No, fuck you. You know exactly what Trump's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's like everybody is living in a different layer of reality. So it's like, what rules are you playing by? Because some people are still pretending that, oh, the justice system might take care of this, but all this other crumbled.
Not
And
if
some
Todd Blanche
people,
is in charge of it.
Yeah, well, and I can
okay,
tell you these
what?
kids, the young people, I work with a lot of young kids, 18, 19, coming out of high school right now, in college, and they don't know the half of it. They don't know the 1/10 of it. And, they tell, well, I'm sorry, let me finish this sentence. One kid was telling me, is this out there to read? And I said, of course it is.
I was talking to somebody the other day that had never heard the term Zorro Ranch.
There are people at work that don't know who Jeffrey Epstein is.
So on that note,
But
what do you do?
it's simple in a way to get people to understand why we've hit that level is the level of distraction that we have every day, the level of comfort we have to avoid those harsh realities of life. And everybody has their own harsh reality. You got bit by dog today.
I know.
you know, we're all just trying to live this damn life.
Right. Well, and thankfully I had health insurance and could go and get it sewn up, but it wasn't even my dog. Like, I could have not prevented this in any way, shape, or form. But um yeah, so what are we going to do about the 2020 election, or I mean the 2020, what are we going to do about elections coming up when they're clearly saying that they're going to fuck with them?
Well, for one thing, they're trying to say that is international interference or fraud, so that the federal level can get involved with local elections and mess with it. That's what they're trying right now.
Which,
They're
if,
probably
if
going to succeed.
and if we expand on that a little bit for people to understand in basic terms what that would grant the ability to happen is troops at voting stations, and various things like this. I mean, this is the type of stuff that everybody pretends like that's never going to happen. Look at what's happened already. Abortion. I mean, abortion's the most basic thing. They just stripped that
Yeah.
away like that. And
Yes, they did.
so stop
Well,
saying they're not going to do it. They're
no,
going to
they're
do it all.
absolutely going to do it. They're telling you what they're going to do, and they're going to fucking do it. And it doesn't matter if there's a rule against it, because that rule does not apply to them, because we have two tiers of justice. And if you have not figured that out by now, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. But Mark Wayne Mullen, I can't even say his name
Uh,
seriously. Like, could his mom, like, not pick? Mark Wayne.
well, she wasn't sure who the
As
daddy, the daddy was.
MarQuayne. Mark Wayne.
Mark Wayne.
And
Oh my God.
Mama didn't know if
Oh,
it was uncle, cousin, or
yeah.
brother, dad. So
Yeah.
he just,
Mark Wayne.
yes.
Okay. So Marquain
Mark
is our
Queen.
new. I'm sorry. Is our
Yes.
new. I'm gonna show respect. He's asking for respect. So he's our new Christy gnome. Somehow, Christy somehow kind of like at least we had outfit changes and like fun stuff. Now we have Marquain. But he literally just said on a press conference, was it yesterday, I believe, he was like, no, we're going to scrub the voter rolls in the states. He's like, that's what we're going to do to make sure that we don't have illegals voting. We have to do that for election safety. That's what the point of Trump's speech was the other day.
So let me
Apparently,
throw in
was we got to scrub them.
a little tidbit about Mark Wayne so everybody understands context and his sycophancy of Trump. You know, when he was confirmed during his confirmation hearings, he was asked about a trip that he took back in 2015, and he refused to answer to Congress about that trip in a very unusual way. But if you actually know where to look and have reviewed things, I found that in the is it the Christopher Steele? Yes,
Dossier.
Christopher Steele FSB agent interview document that I had translated. That it talks about Mark Wayne Millen and other Congress members having gone to Azerbaijan in 2015, and this was the trip that they took was to Azerbaijan, and in January of 2025 last year, and they met with listed people. It's on the document that I posted. Listed very high profile, very high members of the government, even prime ministers or whatever their president is or whatever. And then in January of 2025, Mark Wayne went, and this is publicly available information as well, and visited the exact same people. So this all goes back to everything else in a way that, you know, they're not only compromised, they are coordinating. I mean, this is an
Like
ongoing operation where that's going back a decade at least.
to give them props for the long game. Like I don't have patience. Like I need results very quickly, and they're like what 15 years in. They're like
Not more.
invested. That I mean, they are invested in fucking shit up. I'll give them that.
Well, and you have to question, you know, going back that 15 years, what the state of our intelligence was, you know, in late, 2000s, which obviously that's when we were just catching up with, DHS and all of these things were coming into play, and we had kind of were starting.
9/11. Well, that was how long after 9/11? That was 50. So I mean, they really are playing the long game, like so long.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just these are the types of things that unfortunately it's too much information for most people to be able to absorb in a way that it's productive for them. If
Well,
that
and if it's new to them, the context takes so much backstory that you've got to go back several episodes for it to make sense.
Well, that's what I keep when I find an opportunity to tell somebody one of my little stories, whether it be Amanda or Artem Clushin, a portion of that story, or this or that. They just kind of sometimes glaze over like just in amazement. These are the words coming out of my mouth, and I don't. But I'm very, I think, legitimate sounding when I'm explaining it to them because it all makes so much sense. And I have to remind everybody, the crazy thing about everything I've ever posted is I don't have to make anything up.
Right.
No, it's all just there in the public
And
sphere.
it is insane. Russian agents and
Yeah. I
people
mean, we
that
can't
run.
turn everything into a Michael Bay movie, so it's super interesting for people to understand. It's
Yes.
just like that. It's just all right there. It's
And the thing is everybody else has the opportunity to find this information. And I hope they do, because a lot of the stuff that I found and you found and anybody else has found is us collaborating in a way that somebody decided to go down a deep dive, or they had the access to information in a way that they could find something. I always do call outs to my followers asking them
Right.
to find stuff
Yes.
for me, because I don't have the time or energy or even the skill to
Or do
understand
you
that.
know someone who has, so we can get on there and figure it out because we don't all need to do the same work. Like we can all do a
Everybody
little
has
bit.
a special interest they can contribute.
Everybody has a different autism favorite.
Exactly. But It doesn't make sense if you're putting together a huge puzzle for everybody to work on the same piece. You got to bring it all together.
But we have the understanding that they're all criming for sure.
Yes. Well, and what are we going to, again, it goes back to what are we going to do about it? And I just keep saying Albania. You know, we just need to hit the streets.
Well, people are getting there now that we have like we can't eat food safely and water safely. Like people are starting to be like they've never had this issue in their lifetime. Like this is like, wait, I can't go and I ordered a salad and now I can't eat it and it was fucking $20 too. And I paid for a parasite and now I can't eat it. And so that is it's like gas. It's something that they have to do over everyone.
Well, and I just saw my first item that did not have a Best Buy date.
No kidding.
Yes.
What was it?
I forget. I think it was bread. I think it was bread. Or no. It wasn't bread because bread's the one we pay the closest attention to when it comes to Best Buy. But it was like maybe macaroni or a box of pasta, something. But it didn't have I looked at it for some reason. I had to look at it, or I was curious, and I just happened to see that it said Best Buy, but there was no date printed. And, well, and that's actually, it's been in the news the last week or so, maybe a little longer. Something changed in a way that they don't have to put Best Buy dates anymore because it was, again, obviously it's going to benefit the corporations, benefit all the producers and stuff like that. But it was, the way that they normalized it was saying that it was hurting the business because
The business.
used longer than the date they were putting on it, and they were promoting, just having to waste and stuff like that. But now we're just getting stuff that we have no idea how long it's been on the shelf. It looks like we may be heading that direction.
Well, you'll shit the bed one time and it'll be all over for you. Well, it looks like Mitch shit the bed for real. And like we have 2 AI pictures now, I believe.
Mitch, you say?
Mitch and Andy Bashir said that 2 different agencies had called him reporting that Mitch was fucking dead. But I want to know why Andy is being a little bitch and not going and doing something. This is your time to shine, dude. Don't you want to Manchurian candidate the presidency? Come on.
Well, and this is where I struggle with wondering if they're so, I don't even call them incompetent, but unable to see reality in a way, even the people that are on the right side of things, in terms of knowing that whatever Trump's doing is bad, but they don't have enough information to understand the depths of it, like we do or a lot of people do, or they're just complicit, and I keep falling back. Occam's razor just says, in some way or form, they're all complicit. I mean, that's just where I've kind of landed recently.
Well, they're choosing. They're choosing because this isn't my job. Like, you work this. Why are you not what?
Well,
Why are you doing this? Can I have some money, please?
and complicity is not an excuse as far as I'm concerned. Complicity through complacency is not an excuse. It not being their job. At this point in our nation's situation, complacency is absolutely unacceptable, especially people that have the power to do something about it.
Especially them.
Well, and I feel like one of my main things is I really need to know that I did everything possible. And I'm a nobody. You're like, for real. And they're a somebody who can. And there are very few of them that I am going to look back in history and be like, they did everything they could. And I'm doing that, and that's not my job.
Well, and I think that speaks to the larger picture of things in the fact that we've been compartmentalized, divided, whatever you want to call it, in a way that everybody thinks somebody else is going to take care of every other thing that we don't want to have to take care of, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But that's kind of the world we created for ourselves.
as the eldest daughter, that has never been the role I've taken. I'll just do it. But
It's
like
easier that way. Just do it yourself.
but also like I have to go to work to like my work where I have to pay my bills and buy poopy lettuce. So they're cheating again. This is cheating. This is fraud. And also that Mitch is getting paid still, okay? And he voted for you to not get medical leave. He said you didn't need it, but he gets it after two agencies have said that he's dead, but we're still just paying him. And like
And
he's even he's fucking shit up even after he's gone. God.
But
That's the least griftiest thing that's going on right now.
Right.
well, and the thing is, let's just simplify it. He should be proven to be alive, period. There should be cameras in his face in some capacity proving him to be alive. If not, then we know what's going on. And if it's allowed to happen, then that's already an indication of what they plan on doing come November. And start getting your fucking shit together because we're not going to survive this if people don't start looking at the most basic part of reality. You know, Mitch, you know, the money thing about him getting paid, which, you know, obviously is the most
Benign.
simple, you know, benign thing that people understand is, you know, ultimately he's going to get paid regardless of, you know, they have money on late child's going to get paid, you know, for him.
I know.
Everything. They have all that other stuff. I mean, we just have to help people understand the larger scale of things in terms of each of these people have a certain role that they played in this entire
Absolutely.
implicit, coordinated attack on our nation. And Mitch McConnell has been at the center of that for a decade. He's, you know, he is. I was looking through some old screenshots, and that's why I posted a bunch of shit today about Mueller report and all that other stuff. Is I was looking at all my 2020 screenshots leading up to the election, and I'd come across one where he, you know, it was when he was. It quotes him as saying his job was to hamper any positive that Biden was trying to accomplish. If you remember him saying that. And, you know, and then you look at the Supreme Court stuff that they did and, you know, how they pushed through. And he's the one that, you know, when it came to Amy Coney Barrett or even Kavanaugh, or which one it was, you know, he said, let's just plow through. That he publicly stated to the Republicans, regardless of all the bad stuff and distractions having to do with this candidate, let's just plow through and get it done. I mean, he has been at the center of this and key to this entire thing. The least America can expect is absolute, without a doubt, proof of life. And that should happen no later than the end of this week. Well, it is the end of this. Well, no, it's Sunday. No later than the end of this week. And if it doesn't, we need to start taking steps. This is going to be our first trial at determining what we're going to do come November when they don't play by the fucking rules. And I'm tired of playing by the rules ourselves or waiting
I
for
know.
somebody.
Well, Lindsey Graham's sister is already now a senator.
Yes.
Already. He wasn't even dead like 48 hours.
And again, it goes back to, you know, South Carolina has a Republican governor. Kentucky has a Democratic governor. You know, I hate to continue to repeat myself, but it's important for people that may be listening to this now and didn't listen to it before when we talked about it to understand the simplest pieces of this whole puzzle.
They literally swore in his sister before the FBI was done searching his house for whatever reason. Do we want to talk about that?
Well, and I think it had to do with what he may have shared with intelligence or the DOJ regarding his knowledge of the coordinated effort to discredit Biden and create Hunter laptop materials. Am I on the right page pretty much?
Yeah. Well, Patel said something about it recently. Yes. Essentially going in to remove potentially incriminating documents. Because why would the FBI be going to Lindsey Graham's home and like doing like a crime scene when he had a AAA dissection? And who also called the ambulance?
Wasn't it somebody who had talked to him and he said that he was having heart problems and then somebody else called? The only other thing I could think is maybe it was a rent boy.
It smells like, yeah, for sure.
You know.
Well, all those NDAs are up, and someone fucking come on and tell us, okay? And but all the NDAs are up, and I was just listening to
I
some.
think, there's that one, was it Jizz Monkey on Twitter?
Yeah,
Yes, that talked about Lindsey Graham. It had nothing to do with the Ladybugs. It's completely separate. Yeah, but
yeah, no,
that was the username. I'm not,
yeah,
and I reached out to that one. I had
yeah.
never heard anything, but I think a lot of them,
Uh-huh.
were all scared at the time. Maybe I'll reach out again.
Yeah, so I mean, he clearly liked that shit, and then went and made laws against it because he hated himself.
Did you guys see what Hunter Biden said online?
Yes,
That basically,
yes.
what did he call it? Um, it had the word closet in it.
Yeah, the
Closet
closet,
stocracy or something.
yeah, closetocracy,
Yeah, that
closetocracy.
that
Yes,
all these
Well, he was
folks in
gonna go off.
Washington
yes, yes.
are well known to be in the closet, and it's what they hold that over their head. I just don't understand why they don't all just be who they are, and then why
Because they've
It's so hard to
been
explain.
government
religiously
anymore.
indoctrinated their whole life.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
I understand it better than most just because of the way I grew up
Well,
and
yeah,
stuff.
tell us.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but you grow. I mean, literally, we're groomed from childhood to live a certain American lifestyle and life. You know, all of this stuff. I mean, literally, the woman I married the first time was my first girlfriend that I lost my virginity to, at 13. And, then we had a relationship on and off for several years. And then I joined the military, and it was convenient for both of us to get married
Yeah.
and for me to carry
Just
on the
quote unquote live the life you're supposed to live.
because I was just trying to make my family proud and show them I'm living the life that I'm supposed to live. And so, yeah, and, that was just my first marriage to a woman. There's a whole other one. But anyway, I
Dang,
digress.
Tony!
I want to, and that was before I was 25 when I met my husband for 30 years now.
All that happened before you were 25.
Yes, I traveled the world and was married 2 times and had a child before I was 25. Uh, and, but there's another subject I want to bring up real quick because it was
Go.
brought to my attention earlier today. And I had already seen it, but Amanda shared it with me. And it happened to do with Paula Zampoli partying over the weekend with the Tate brothers.
Oh, you're kidding me.
He spent the
Yes.
entire weekend
Well, aren't
partying with
those birds
the
of a
Tate brothers.
feather?
Yeah, I mean, it was what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? Time doesn't make sense to me anymore when he posted the picture with them having been on like their podcast or something with them. But yeah, he literally spent the weekend partying with the Tate brothers. I think in Miami. Yeah.
I'm not surprised. That
Ew.
makes perfect sense.
And then oh yeah, and then he posted something today showing himself with, ooh, I just saw your pictures, Tina. Yuck. Are you suing that dog? Um,
No.
The dog.
um, hold on, what did he post today?
Cujo.
Oh, a picture of himself with Giuliani's son.
God, the ugliest fucking people. And they have the most money to buy plastic surgery, and they somehow get. Maybe those plastic surgeons are like actually on our side, like fucking them up like that. Like,
Hillary
you're
Clinton.
branded. Yeah, you're
Oh Lord.
branded.
Well,
But,
I Amanda's husband's a plastic surgeon.
well, we need
All I
to look
need
at
is a
some of his
hookup in the
work. But,
future. Jow, please.
yeah.
On her 60th birthday, please.
I might need leg reconstruction on the house.
Oh, but yeah, so yeah, Paulo was partying with the Tate brothers, and he's still being the piece of shit he always has been, doing all the things he does. I was trying to get an update about whether or not it looked like her husband was going to be released from his
Amanda's
post
husband.
detention, but I haven't heard anything. I'll have to ask her again. And there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I just can't talk about, of course. And one of the things with that I will add is, her marketing team from the beginning has been on her case about sharing and not sharing information. So we've gotten to a point that they're refining things in a way that she's producing these really good uh, videos that I know she shared with me and asked me to share them on Twitter, like about her experience in ICE detention, which were we're familiar with. I didn't know she broke her finger. She didn't tell us when we talked to her, but she broke her finger.
Mm-mm.
She was in ice detention too, and they didn't do anything about it. Yeah, like no medical attention whatsoever, no pain pills, no nothing. Uh, she talks
Yeah.
about them not having any access to bathroom facilities. So she goes into much greater detail, and to me that is I'm thankful she's able to experience that from her and not experience that, share that experience with
Yeah, yeah.
us to share the world because people need to understand we have no visibility to what's going on in those centers right now. So she's telling her story in a way not that everybody necessarily wants to see because everybody wants a smoking gun or the one piece of information that's going to take it all down. If you don't know, it doesn't work that way. Now at this point, then
If so many of the things that we have found out over the past however many years has not been a smoking gun, then I don't think there is one for all people until everyone is suffering and we're on our way.
well, and it's interesting. The three of us have been on this journey we're coming up on almost exactly a year. In terms of
It's our year anniversary. We
yes,
got to throw a party.
very soon. Yeah, I think it's the end of this month. I'd have to look at some of my screenshots and information I have, but
Yeah, yes, it is the end of this month.
yeah,
Yep.
because that's when I first started talking about Paula Zampoli, and we started, and then all the Brina Now. It's funny to me about the Brina Now stuff because it is a worldwide conspiracy now. I mean,
Oh,
I
it
see it
is.
all on Reddit, I see people on TikTok all the time, and I'm like,
You're welcome.
Yeah.
yes, and but the craziest thing about it is how it's still not necessarily out of.
Disproven.
Yeah. And then you have this thing with that Becca had found, and she continues to do. I still communicate with Becca regularly, but we kind of are off on our own little tangents, and we regroup when it comes to stuff having to do with Amanda. But Becca's done amazing work for a long time too,
She sure has.
and she continues to dive down some of these rabbit holes. With Amanda having lost access to her account, as I told you guys, and that's public information already. It creates some challenges because had been able to share with us a bunch of emails, and it was literally just the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
I told her, and I'll share this with you because it's from me. I asked her to search her emails and see if she has anything from Felix Sater, because
Oh,
Felix Sater
yeah.
was she had already told me she had met him at least one time. She was familiar with who he was, but Felix and Paula both worked for the Trump organization during the same time frame in the early 2000s in the real estate business. So it'd be shocking to me if there wasn't some interesting communication among them, considering the fact, and this is me just kind of putting the larger scale thing of this together, the fact that, it was mostly Russian money that was funding a lot of these projects surrounding, the Trump name. And, it goes down to a lot of the funding they got for building these buildings had to do with banks require a 60% sell rate before they'll fund. So what was happening is on paper they were saying all these Russians were buying 60% of his properties so that he would then get full funding for the build. But then that stuff like that wasn't necessarily legitimate. They just put it on paper that all those properties were built. And even Epstein talks about this stuff in email. So again, none of this is speculation. This is all stuff that's out there. But if you look at, the people involved, Felix Sater, being connected directly to the Russian mob and to the Kremlin, having worked with Trump in his real estate business, and most famously I think it's the Bay Rock, the black, what's it called? All those rock things. But that one building in Manhattan that had all the scandals surrounding it, that Ivanka and Don should have went to jail for, but somehow they got out of that. Just all the scandals surrounding the finances and everything. And then you've got Paul Zampoli involved in the real estate, and he was using models to basically try to sell all these apartments. So it brings in all these connections as well, which is a big part of what they were doing, in terms of grooming these women to do various things throughout the operation.
Well, it was just another way to traffic, launder, make money. Like humans are $1 billion industry. And I guess fucking kids is. Ugh.
And I would say Amanda, as she's finding material, she is having revelations about things she was unaware of. That's all I'll share.
Hopefully, at some point, she can come forth with that and let us know.
Well,
what she learned.
does she have like someone that is
Yeah, she.
okay?
Yeah, I mean, she's well protected. She's well served. She's well taken.
But I mean, for the mental
Yes.
part and emotional part of reading revelations of things and lies that you've been living your whole life and terrible things.
And I know she has support in that area too.
Okay, good, good.
You know, it's interesting because I say the rawest part of it, but then she tells me about how she saw so and so, and this they were able to bring her down to a level and stuff like that because of some of the revelations she's seeing. So nothing. I don't want to get act like things are crazy, but I mean, there's a lot to the backstory of all this too. But she's handling it very well, and I think it's just a move forward type of thing. I mean, she's not going to take down the Trump administration. But I bet she has information that'll help shine a light tremendously. Because if anybody was going to share information to take down the Trumps, it would have already happened, which it has. Now, the fact is, nobody's actually taken them down. There's plenty of information out there.
I was gonna say something. Oh, I was gonna say Hunter Biden's been killing it.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually someone good, whether you support, he did some shitty shit. I'm not even sticking up for him. I'm not saying
And he's
anything
the first
about
to admit
anything.
that, right?
His honesty with that is at least taking accountability of some sort. And he's actually very informative in what he is stating. He almost reminds me of how you consolidate information, Tony, honestly. And we're finding out that he's not lying as all of these lawsuits come down, and he is awarded money. And these people that have said all of these accusations about him are getting convicted of defamation, or is it convicted? I don't know what
What was the most recent one?
Patrick Byrne.
Yes.
Yes, which I think is amazing because I have a personal relationship with Patrick Byrne in some sorts online because he's such a creep and he's so deeply involved in January 6th and Russia connections and all this, Mike Flynn and all this other stuff. And obviously, a lot of people don't know. And I really try to get things to a 60-second clip, and it's so difficult because there's so much information. And Patrick Byrne was former Overstock CEO of Overstock.com. He had to leave when revelations came out that he was involved with former convicted Russian spy Maria Butina, who was given a light sentence from the Trump administration so they could scuttle her out of the country. I've had conversations. Yes, another one. But she had also infiltrated the NRA, had connections with 4 other presidential candidates, including Scott Walker, who is head of the YAF, which Sergey Gore and Benny Johnson were part of back in 2014, which I produced a picture showing that. But I digress. Maria Butina had a relationship with Patrick Byrne in a way that he even offered her $1 million to have in Bitcoin to have his baby. He also admitted to me directly that he sent money to her after she was deported to Russia to help her live. And it was a numerous conversation. He jumped into my comments yesterday, commenting on somebody else's comments, but he won't engage with me anymore.
As recently as yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday he was
That's
just like
incredible.
days ago. So so it's so funny because again, I don't have to make any of this up. But it's all information that just kind of comes together, and somehow I've been fortunate enough to engage some of these people in a way that they implicate themselves over and over and over.
Dum-dums.
Yep.
Well, if nothing happens when you implicate yourself, why not continue to do
just
so?
Keep doing it. If you can stick a fork in the outlet and it doesn't shock you, you're gonna keep sticking that fork in the outlet.
Well, and Patrick Byrne was the Burisma one, correct?
Yes, he was involved in that.
Okay, and then Smirnov was the remember Smirnov? He got
He was the one that made up the
convicted.
story about. He's the one that he was indicted for lying about something having to do with Biden. Specific. Oh, yeah, maybe
Okay,
stuff too, but I don't. But yes.
yeah. So all of these things are coming up, like these narratives that were pushed during the election time.
Well, one other thing with Patrick Byrne, just so everybody understands that they've actually embraced it all, is he wrote a book that was released in 2024, early 2024, and in February of 20 or March of 2024, he was at Mar-a-Lago touting that book with Mike Flynn. Mike Flynn wrote the foreword to that book, and Maria Butina wrote the preface of that book. That's all anybody needs to understand and know about the Russian coordination that we continue to show you proof of over the last several years.
Well, and you don't even have to like take what we're saying. It like Donald Trump literally had a speech the other day and declassified papers fucking saying that.
Well, and that's another thing I brought up. Sorry, I just have to put it out there. Is on Inauguration Day, January 20th, 2017, when Trump was sworn into office, Michael Flynn was in the audience. 10 minutes after Trump was sworn into office, it's known that Michael Flynn was texting Russian entities about a nuclear deal in the Middle East being a go. So this is 10 minutes after Trump was sworn in. Michael Flynn was talking to Russia about now that Trump's sworn in, they're going to be able to lift sanctions and provide more nuclear tech to this Middle Eastern country, which several days after Jamal Khashoggi was murdered, Trump circumvented Congress and rules. Oh my God, that bruise.
I
And
know. I was just looking
I
at
can
it.
see it, yeah, and circumvented Congress and all normal rules to give nuclear tech to Saudi Arabia for a fee. And then we have all the nuclear stolen documents that never surfaced. You know, people don't need to even draw their own conclusions. You just have to pay attention to the basics. So,
Okay, one question. Do people like, and I'd love for someone to comment, on this if they know. Do they just think that, do they think it's not a big deal? Or do they think they're not really doing it?
I don't think they understand the repercussions of it because, again, they're just, yeah, they don't understand why it matters.
Okay, nuclear paper, like nuclear documents?
Well, exactly. It's the well, and the other thing is the gaslighting. I mean, for every negative story that is provable, verifiable, and even shared in public, there's 10 other stories produced by Trump and the operation to distract everybody, muddying the waters to where yes, somebody may have paid attention to that, but they're paying attention to 10 other things. I was telling you guys about my grand conspiracy theories of the other day, and the one I didn't share with you is the fact that I think we've all been even compartmentalized to some extent within social media platforms. We've been confined within
Absolutely.
a way, yeah, and the best example I can tell you of this is when I was on Facebook years ago. I'm still on Facebook for obvious reasons in terms of information, but when I was on Facebook years ago, I had noticed that I would comment when I would be more active on that, which is very toxic on Facebook. You can't have normal conversations on Facebook as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to this stuff. But I was commenting on NBC posts or other news articles that would come out, New York Times, Washington Post, that were covering some of the main events that were going on. And you would have some back and forth. You would see these various comments in these posts, and then you would even have some engagement of MAGA, saying
Hmm.
what they say, or some people supporting information you say. But then, the next day or even later that night, I'd see that post again in my feed, but it was like a brand new version of it, of the exact same thing, like a repost, but without all of the comments from before. So now they're capturing another segment of people on Facebook and drawing them.
Restarting the conversation in a different.
So if you have 10 different posts, you just watered down that conversation 10 different times, no matter
Well,
how you
yeah,
used it.
yeah. Well, and it also reminds me of like how I can ask a question to my chat GPT and then someone else can do it to theirs, and the answer will actually be different a lot of the time. And not like a math question.
Well, it's been about 45 minutes. We're going to shut it down for now. I have to just throw out there, though, maybe we should move this party like the bar's just closed and we're going to go to the after party. Maybe we should do a live someplace for another 15 or 20 minutes. You want to do that?
Where do you guys want to go?
I gotta go take some Tylenol from my leg.
Are you? We can do a Twitter live if you want. I don't know what's your Twitter presence, or if you want to do it. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the YouTube live stuff, so I don't know at all. But
Okay, well, I tell you what. Let's go ahead and say goodbye to our peeps for here, and we'll plan on heading over there someplace.
Okay.
If Tina's
Okay.
pain tolerance
Yeah.
is adequate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you soon, and there's always something crazy to talk about. So we'll be back. Stay sane.
All
That's I can
right.
say.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't hang out with any mean dogs. Okay. Okay, guys.
We love
Bye.
you.